Yeah, that'd be fine.
If the board's willing to give concurrence as we move through each element, that would allow us to have a working, clean document. Is there any opposition to the chair, the senior member serving as the chair pro tem, as proposed in the blue text? Can we accept that as a change?
Yeah, is that, do we all agree on that?
Just concurrence is necessary.
Thank you.
Okay, so with respect to the 5:30 rule, what is proposed now, and I'll read it aloud, regular meetings shall adjourn no later than 5:30 p.m. unless extended by unanimous consent of the members present. The 5:30 rule may be invoked at any time from 5:30 onward, at which time all business shall be adjourned except motions on the floor shall be voted upon, and 2 closed sessions items may be considered by consent of the majority of the board, and 3 time-sensitive items may be considered by unanimous consent of the members present. All items agendized for that meeting and not concluded shall be continued to the next regular meeting of the board.
What's the consensus on that wording?
I think they're all sensible. It allows the purpose of the rule to be served, but, you know, certain necessary business can still be conducted.
Supervisor
Just a
Smith?
question to council, what's the essence of the change on that?
Well, I was concerned with the fact that when the 5:30 rule is called, particularly now that we're changing our agenda and having the closed session items at the end of the day, that you may not get to important closed session items that I need you to address. So that's a big concern for me.
So it creates more flexibility.
It creates more flexibility.
Okay.
And it also avoids calling the 5:30 rule right at the moment you're going to take a motion. You know, you need to resolve the issue, and then everybody can adjourn for the evening.
Well, actually, you could call it right up until the motion was made.
You could do that, yeah.
But if there's a motion on the floor, you would go
It's
ahead
been
and vote on it.
first, introduced and second, yes.
Is there a consensus on that, Supervisor Colfax?
I agree with the suggestions. One concern, however, is the first sentence there. Would you read that, please?
Regular meetings shall adjourn no later than 5:30
Right,
p.m.
and the question I have about that is does that imply that there should be a statement at 5:25 that we are rapidly approaching? In other words, do we close down at 5:30 without the 5:30 rule, or do we continue on past? I mean, that is, in a sense, a violation. That would, be, in a sense, be a violation of our ordinary operating procedure. I don't want to split hairs there, but...
No, that's a very good point, and from the standpoint that so far our meetings have been extending beyond 5:30.
I don't support having that first sentence in.
Okay.
Well, wait, that first sentence is what's in there now. That provision is in there now, and I think the fact that you continue past 5:30 is in itself unanimous consent to do so, and then this clarifies that beyond that time, at any point from 5:30 onward, someone can invoke the 5:30 rule.
Well, actually, I do agree with Supervisor Colfax that it does read that you would need an unanimous consent. In other words, there'd have to be
That's what
some
I'm
statement
saying.
made, and we've never done that. I mean, practice has
But
been,
that's what the rule has always
know.
been.
Well, then...
I know, but practice has been that
Then
you
if
have
we
just
took an
moved on.
action after 5:30, it could be argued from a member of the public to say that action is null and void because your rule says you should adjourn to 5:30.
Ordinary, yes.
So I think that first sentence needs, I don't care if it's in the past rules, that first sentence, in my opinion, needs to be eliminated. And then you start out with the 5:30 rule, Because if we want to, if I'm the chair and if we have business to take care of, and if I got the unanimous consent of my colleagues, we're going to go till 11 o'clock to finish the business.
Well,
And if not,
except-
somebody can call the 5:30 rule and we're done for the day.
Except it then says that from 5:30 onward, so even if at 5:30 you all
That's what I'm saying.
caucus and unanimously say, let's go forward, at 6 o'clock, a member could say, I invoke the 5:30 rule.
Exactly.
So I don't think we need to have this discussion. I think we can continue with the convention as we've done it.
Well, I think it's important we do away with that first sentence.
Well, then you have to have a new first sentence, otherwise you just kind of start in midair.
Right.
So that's the choice, is live with the convention that we've always done, understanding what it means, or craft a new sentence.
Chair Pinches, the current language says business shall be conducted from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the latest.
Yeah, and that's my, if, say we took
That's
an action,
this-
we worked late and worked till 10 o'clock, and we took action at 10 o'clock, or 9 o'clock at night, somebody could argue and have a good argument that that action is null and void because it violated our rules of quitting at 5:30.
It's a matter of,
Yeah, I'm not so certain that would actually happen, but I think that if you could start the sentence similar to what the clerk just referenced, that, you know, you
Well, let's
your
get some-
regular meeting time is from 9 to 5:30
Supervisor
unless...
Smith? you're
Oh,
gonna-
no.
Okay. Well, we need to come up with some, to move this forward, we need to come up with
answer.
some,
Oh, an answer?
so, can I, Christie, can you read what your
Current-
proposal is?
The current rules, business shall be conducted from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the latest.
Okay, so that would be the first sentence, then the second sentence would start off with the 5:30 rule may be invoked? Was that,
Of the board.
is that, do we have a consent on that change? Is consent on that change? Yeah. Okay.
well, so it could, what if it said regular meetings shall normally conclude
By 5:30.
by 5:30?
Well, I think
I
that
don't know.
kind of says that.
Business shall be conducted from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the latest.
But I don't know why we need that phrase at the latest in there.
Yeah,
It's
So
awkward.
should we just say until 5:30 p.m.? End of sentence?
I like the insertion of business shall normally be
Normally.
conducted
But other
between
things
9
happen.
and 5:30,
That's the general terms, and then other things occur.
yeah.
Okay. I just don't want somebody to argue and come in that when an action was taken after that and say,
Yeah, no.
you made an illegal action because your rules say that you should have quit at 5:30.
So may I reread what the current proposal is? Business shall normally be conducted between 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. The 5:30 rule may be invoked at any time from 5:30 p.m. onward, at which time all business shall be adjourned, except 1, motions on the floor shall be voted upon. 2, closed session items may be considered by consent of a majority of the board. 3, time-sensitive items may be considered by unanimous consent of the members present. All items agendized for that meeting and not concluded shall be continued to the next regular meeting of the board. Is that acceptable?
I just have a question, though. Nowhere does it ever define the 5:30 rule. I mean, I understand that we're specifically saying what business hours are, and then it goes, the 5:30, well, what's the 5:30 rule?
exactly.
There's no
Exactly.
definition.
Well, it's all there by implication.
No, it isn't.
No,
it isn't.
no one
Not
would
at all.
understand them.
Okay, well, let me,
It's got to be
We struck
addressed.
through the time and place of
Right.
meetings, which was the previous rule that established that, so.
But the 5:30 rule is even in quotes, and I think it's...
Well, and that tells you it's now being defined, and it may be invoked at any time from 5:30 PM onward, at which time all business shall be adjourned. That's the 5:30 rule.
You
And
don't
that-
define things
No.
by quotes.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
You don't.
well, you
Well,
could, you could state, any board member may invoke, quote, the 5:30 rule
It has-
at any time from 5:30
It has to talk
on.
something about unanimous consent, has to be referenced, or...
No.
Without the unanimous consent, the 5:30 rule means all business will end. I mean, you have to define it somewhere.
Well, I think it's defined, why don't we come back to that one? Let's see if we can agree on the rest of them. If the rest of them go like this one, we're not going to finish tonight.
Will be beyond 5:30.
And we can't invoke it because we don't know what it is.
I was trying to find the,
It's 5, rule number 5.
rule number 5.
Rule number
Mis-
5.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, so moving on to page 5 of 14, procedure and voting.
Yeah.
There were a lot of areas throughout our rules that weren't necessarily consistent with Robert's Rules of Order. So we were kind of cleaning that up, and this is one of those procedures, and also rearranging, where it was in the rules. So I don't think that's very significant, but moving down on page number 6, there's also a rule of decorum that we've inserted, and I'll read it aloud. While a meeting